Hey, today I'm talking about the new erotic thriller film, Babygirl. This stars Nicole Kidman and a handful of other actors you would definitely recognize. And the basic premise is Nicole Kidman plays the CEO of this successful company, a real girl boss. But one day she meets this lowly intern that can give her something that no man has ever given her before. And then sexy stuff happens. I really wanted to like this movie, especially just because like erotic thrillers are a fun genre. Having a film about women's sexuality isn't that common, so I definitely love seeing that, especially older women's sexuality. Like, that's just great. I definitely really loved the score. The score was incredible. Like, every time the main theme came on, I was just like, oh my god, yes, please, more of this. And I would say I like the broad strokes of what this film was kind of presented as. What it actually is, I really didn't care for. And honestly, the more I've thought about the film, the more I like it less. Because honestly, I originally ranked this higher. I kind of put it more middle of the road, but now after some reflection, I've bumped it down to the meh section. Okay, so what's my issue? To explain it, I'm gonna do some analysis. So the first scene in which girl boss meets cute intern boy, it's on the street in front of her building. There is this vicious dog who is attacking this random man on the street for seemingly no reason, and it's very violent and aggressive, and there's a whole crowd of people watching, but no one's able to do anything until cute boy comes along and he has the secret in his pocket. It was a cookie, which I thought were setting up like he was diabetic, but I don't think they ever addressed it again after the initial scene. And he's able to calm down this vicious dog. So that's the first time we see the dog. What I believe is the third time we see the dog. It's sort of a reimagined flashback. So this is much later in the film. They had already had the affair, so now she's imagining the boy toy in the hotel room where they first hooked up, and instead of her being there doing all of the submissive things, pretending to be a dog and stuff, it's an actual dog now doing all of the tricks. So, to me, that means that the dog is meant to be a metaphor for her, which makes sense. She does lots of dog things throughout, so that tracks. But then going back to the first scene, that first scene is then recontextualized knowing that the dog is meant to represent her. It's the first scene of them together, so it's essentially the thesis statement for the film. And what is it saying? So I would interpret it, her as a literal bitch attacking a random man for seemingly no reason. They never address the reason for the attack. So in a sense, that's how girl boss views herself, as this vicious bitch who will just attack a man for seemingly no reason. And she hates this aspect of herself. She wishes that some beautiful young man would come along and tame her, turn her into a submissive, trainable dog, instead of this snarling, bloodthirsty hound that she sees herself as. And I don't care for that. Like, if that's what the movie's trying to go about, is this woman who has all the power desperately just wants a man who has power over her. Like, what? No, what? Like, Nicole Kidman's character is supposed to be incredibly smart. Like, she talks about going to school really well there, having to do all of these tests to get this first job, and just explains how she's supposed to be really smart. But the movie just shows us how stupid she is. Like, there's a scene near the end where she confesses to her husband everything that's been happening, which in and of itself is stupid because A, she didn't need to, logistically, like she wasn't about to get ratted out by someone. Secondly, it hadn't been weighing on her morally. The closest we got to her worrying about any of this was the times when the boy would randomly show up at the house, but like, she doesn't give a shit about that. And then on top of that, she lies in the confession. So like, it can't even be her wanting to get this weight off of her chest, because if it was, then she wouldn't have just made the situation more messy and complicated than it already was. Her whole issue is that she doesn't know how to talk to her husband about her sexual needs. They've been married like 18 or 19 years, and she keeps in the middle of fun, sexy time just being like, hey, do this really weird thing. And he's like, no, that seems strange. What are you doing? Instead of, you know, having a conversation prior to sexy fun times about wants and needs and trying to push his boundaries to get to her level. What a healthy couple would do together. So, you know, that's just another example of her being stupid when she's supposed to be this incredibly smart character. Yeah, I don't know. I put it in the mix because there are bits and pieces that I liked. I was entertained. It did keep my attention. Again, the score is so good. I love the score so much. But man, yeah, no. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, nope, nope, This isn't good. So yeah, no, I did not care for this movie and I do not recommend it. And now for my ranking, I put this at number 104 in the meh category. And this is out of a total of 112 new movies so far this year.